As a dungeon master, you should be figuring this stuff out on your own. You don't need anybody's help. You don't need to be asking questions. Let's try this again. There are lots of common things that new dungeon masters and new players run into. So let's talk about really 5 major questions that a lot of new dungeon masters will get either from new dungeon masters or from new players. So how do I deal with a random NPC getting killed by a random player for no reason whatsoever? This comes up more often than not. Now, normally this happens because there's a reason. Now, if your players are killing an NPC, understand that in the game there should be consequences. Someone's going to be looking for the murderer of that NPC. Who's looking for them? Do they find out that it was the players? Do they find out that it was? When the guards show up to confront the players, how do the players handle it? You know, do the players turn over the random player that actually, or the random player's character that killed the NPC? That's the big question. How do they handle it? Because here's the thing, if the guards show up, and the players kill those guards, now the players are wanted not only for the murder of the guard, for the murder of the guards that actually went and tried to arrest them for the murder of the other NPC. The thing is that creates internal conflict in the game mechanics itself. So while that looks good on the outside, as a dungeon master, that's what you should be doing because it shows there's consequences for actions, you need to have this conversation outside of the game as well. Why did you decide to go ahead and kill this NPC? And find out. Is the game not going the way that you want it to go? That seems a very, strange thing for your character to do. So absolutely have those conversations both outside of the game and have internal consequences. It'll be amazing at how well that works for you. So what do I do when my players are constantly running away from a challenge? Well, when your players are running away from a challenge, you need to have this outside of kind of character conversation, because if every time you throw a challenge at players and they go the other direction, why are they adventuring? We missed something in session 0 of setting the expectations of party dynamics, character dynamics, understanding what my characters' backstories are. If maybe they're afraid that you are going to kill them because you hit them with some big things early on. This is one of those small things that simply is an expectation misunderstanding, or the characters are the wrong characters for the adventure. We want adventurers. We want people that are going to necessarily run headlong into, danger, but are going to deal with the dangerous conflicts that happen to them on a regular basis. So how do I handle when the players are not taking the hooks that I'm giving them? So this is one of those things where if we had a session 0, if we understand the party's motives and we're giving them hooks that they said they would be interesting, the things they said they'd be interesting, we got to have this conversation outside of the game. There's one of those things where, hey guys, why are we not going in the direction? You told me this about your character. You told me this about your character. These are the hooks that I gave you, and you're not taking those hooks. You're not running with those. It may seem frustrating to have those conversations, but this is an out-of-character conversation. There's only so much you can do as a dungeon master, and understanding our limits and understanding in human behavior got to be one of those things. You need to understand as a dungeon master that sometimes you just have to ask, hey, I'm putting a lot of effort to throw these hooks together, and this is why I'm doing that. Am I putting the wrong things in front of you? And if players do not give you the information that you are looking for, meaning, well, you just haven't given us anything exciting to follow yet, that's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, what are the things your characters would be interested in? Help me understand, because I'm putting time and effort into this conversation, into this building of this campaign, the game, everything. I need you to help me participate so you guys are having fun. And right now I don't feel like you are. And figure out what it is they want to be. A lot of times it comes from the time of us as dungeon masters wanting to tell a story that our characters don't want to participate in. And that does happen. We have an idea of the story we want to tell. We've stopped paying attention to the players. If you're paying attention to the players and you're giving them the hooks, that's when you have the conversation. If you're not paying attention, you're telling your own story, start trying to tell the story of the characters. Remember, it's a collaborative storytelling effort, not an individual. So food for thought on that one. So as a dungeon master, how do I handle with the bard trying to seduce everyone? Well, you don't. You let the bard seduce everyone. You let them roll for it. Have you ever had a crazy ex before? Have you ever seen on TV a crazy ex? Have you ever seen what happens when a dragon finds a fancy of a bard? Listen, when your bard wants to do the crazy seduce things, number one, have the conversation out of character. This is not something that I do in my games. The bard is more than welcome to seduce, but every time we walk into the tavern, if the bard tries to seduce the barmaid, the bartender, the person sitting in the corner, I'm going to be like, hey, not in my game. That's not how I roll. If you play that game, the crazy ex needs to step in. Imagine a dragon that's trying to get with your bard. Imagine 4 bartenders from all across that have now put together and put a hit out on the bar because you've just left. You've got children behind. You slept with them, you seduced them, you left a kid behind, and you're not there. You're now the deadbeat dad bard. So remember something. There are consequences to your actions, especially if you're going to walk around seducing people. It may be funny on the beginning, but soon you're going to have a flock of people that are tracking you down because you're an a-hole. You're not going to end on good notes every single time because we've all had our crazy exes. Give your bard a crazy exes. I know when it's funny or when it's a dragon or an archfey or something that can literally end them. Try it out for size. And then finally, how do I deal with a rules lawyer at the table? Rules lawyers are people that keep interrupting gameplay to change on how you think or how a game should be played based upon rules as written or the rules as they see them interpreted. So the first couple of times this is fine. Engage the rules lawyer. Hey, how does this ruling work? It works like this. When you engage a rules lawyer when you don't know the answer, if you're going to have to make a call, ask the rules lawyer. The rules lawyer is my best friend at a table. In all ways, shapes, or form, the rules lawyer helps me understand the rules so I don't have to. I love them. At the same time, when I make a call, if I'm engaging the rules lawyer, I can simply say, hey, I'm not going to rule it this time, but I normally I'll look to you for that. 90% of the time, the rules lawyer will let it go because you have engaged them. When a rules lawyer feels left out is when you keep overriding them and you keep not playing by the rules and you're not taking their advice because they do understand it so much. So just keep that in mind. If you want a rules lawyer, you want to put them at bay, use them to understand, or if you have a question, reference them first. A rules lawyer is not someone who has to open the book every single time. If you have to open the book, hey, if we got to open the book, we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to make this as ruling because I want to keep playing, right? Opening the book is not a rules lawyer. A rules lawyer is someone that's going to tell you how it is. I love them at my table. Engage them. They'll be an amazing resource for you. So thank you again for joining us. Like and subscribe. These are some questions that we saw that are actually posted in my comments. They were out there on Reddit, and I figured that they could be addressed. Remember, no problem is everyone's problem, but always feel willing to ask to get advice, and these may not be the right answers for you. But no matter what, thank you for growing our channel. Like and subscribe. Hit that comment below. Tell me what problems you're having as a Dungeon Master. I'll be happy to make a video on what my personal take on it is, and hopefully some others will as well. We'll see you next time.